Hello there and welcome to this audio commentary for the On the Buses episode.
What the stars Foretell.
I'm Rich Coghill and I'm with Craig Walker, author of 4 On the Buses books, and we're delighted to have with us 2 cast members. If you'd like to introduce yourselves.
I'm Nina West. And I'm Sandra Bryant.
Welcome ladies. So this is the first time you've watched this. Nina, you watched it the other week.
I watched it about 6 months ago and it was quite surprising. It was like another life.
And Sandra, this is your first viewing in...
40, 50 years.
And there they are. Look at you both.
Oh, babies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You will be faced with an important decision regarding the opposite sex.
See, what tends to happen on these commentaries as well, doesn't matter if you're James Bond, people stay quiet because they like to listen to the episodes. Everyone's guilty of it.
What was Bob like to work with then?
Oh, he's a lovely man. He
Yes.
was a sweetie. He was just very considerate and true gentleman. Wasn't
Yes, he was.
We have
Absolutely.
never heard anything bad about him, you know, everyone says he was just a delightful guy.
Yes, he was.
And Anna, of course, will be with us at the event. And
Oh,
next
she
month.
was fun. She was great. I'm dying to meet her.
She's still the life and soul of the party.
Oh.
Just a quick mention, in the background is a lady called Iris Fry, and she's a formidable extra, isn't she? She's been in everything from 40 Towers to Steptoe and Son, but can never find any in-depth information on her. It'd be nice if someone, you know, decided to bring out, you know, over a book or something that just told us all about her life, because
Does
everything
she
we
come
watch.
to the events? Or
No, she's passed away, sadly.
Oh,
Yeah,
what a
it
shame.
took us quite a while to locate her, and when we did, sometimes you get given that news.
I did recognise the face.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I did too. Yeah.
Oh, look at him.
So, would this have taken a whole day? Was it sort of stop and start? Was you there over the duration of a couple of days, or was it all done within?
I think this was all one day, wasn't it?
It was all filmed. As you see it, but there was about a week or 10 days rehearsal beforehand.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a hard bit, yeah. And then you just turned up and this was like the icing on the cake as well.
Was it very stressful when you were rehearsing? Was everyone allowed to have a laugh, or was you just sort of
I
toe the
remember it being
line?
good fun.
Really?
Yes, indeed.
It was always a relaxed atmosphere, and I think that's what you get when you watch it now. You can
Yes.
feel that almost family feeling.
Precisely. And the other thing is, the humour and the comedy, it stands up so well. I know maybe the new generation aren't really aware of it, but to us, you know, it just stands up so well. There's no real filth in it.
No,
Yeah.
no. There's not even much innuendo, is there?
Not really, no. I mean, a lot of the time, especially when Reg Varney was in it, we spent winding Blakey up, wasn't it?
And that lovely face he had, those little gleaming eyes.
That's him. Larry Martin there, playing Fred.
Yeah.
Carry on behind, carry on convenience.
Yes, he did so much, didn't he?
And there is a myth that's been going around for a while, but which I think you've dispelled since, that you were actually a carry-on teacher, Sandra.
That's right.
We've
That's right.
been discussing
We've
this
just
just
discussed
now.
that, right?
Yeah, I mean, what do you think about that then? So
Well, I don't have very much recall about it because it was such a long
it was so
time
long ago. I think 63, 59. It was a very early one. So yeah, it's a job at the end of the day, isn't it? You'll turn up.
I recognise the names of my fellow cast members.
Richard
because
O'Sullivan.
I went to school with them all, so they must have come along and chose us.
But you'd have been terribly young. You'd have been, what, 8 or something?
No, I was a bit older than that. I think I was about...
Did you both go to drama school?
I went to, from there, I did. I went to Italia Conti from the age of 11 when it was actually located in the middle of Soho.
Oh,
I mean, in those days...
Soho was the place to be.
Well, I'd get on the train, I was an 11-year-old, wouldn't ever occur to anybody
fun.
that it might
Of course.
not be a
One of your
strictly
co-stars in On the Buses, Holiday on the Buses, Kate Williams, is a teacher at Italia Conti now.
Really?
Yeah. She teaches grammar at Italia Conti.
Still going
Yeah.
strong.
Well, Kate will be joining us in August at the Holiday on the Buses reunion, which you'll be there as well, Sandra. So you'll be able to catch up.
Well, but after that I left and I went to Corona, which
Oh yes, that's the big one. Everyone's aware of.
that's when with Richard and Jeremy and all the people.
And we got interrupted. Sorry, carry on, Nina.
Basically, that was it. I went to the drama studio in Ealing, and quite a happy time, really. Yeah.
So you yourself didn't continue on too many more years. You said you moved to Australia.
No, I went with my husband, who's a singer at the time, to Australia. And when I came back, started up and did a little bit of theatre and things. Then remarried, and so that took me into a completely different life.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did a couple of commercials about 10 years ago. Other than that.
There is a lot of women like that though that I've noticed from like on the buses where sort of like it comes to a point where you realise they've married and started a family and then getting back into acting again, maybe 10, 15 years later when the kids are older. It's the business has changed so much and your contacts have all gone, haven't they, really, I suppose?
And it was a time for that, wasn't it? Women tended to follow their men more. I mean, now it's almost driven the other way, isn't it? Because it's a different dynamic between the sexes.
Yeah. And as well, the whole industry changes. I suppose it's a bit like what happened with Bob, sadly. I mean, he was more renowned for his the type of non-PC humour sort of, and the stage shows that he done were a little bit out there, if you know what I mean, and then the business really changed, and then that's when his roles began drying up in the late 1980s on the stage and all of that.
It's a fashion thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did either of you two do pantomime or ever offered it?
I've not done pantomime.
I did, but I was very, very young. And I remember it was Noddy in Toyland. It was so long ago that he was like I was a fairy in the first part, and the second act I was Mrs. Tubby Bear in a suit. And I met Enid Blyton, that's how long ago.
Oh, my lovely.
Wow.
Yes.
And I was about 10 or 11, so I remember my father used to run me up to Victoria Palace where the pantomime was on every night.
Gosh, that's quite the journey, isn't it?
Yeah, but he was a lovely man.
So Nina, you've just done the one episode.
I believe so,
And
yes.
Sandra, you've done sort of a handful, didn't you, of the series?
Four.
And then
I think you've done four, Sandra.
Did I?
Did you feel like one of the family once you was, it welcomed you well? And then you've done a spin-off film, of course, Holiday on the Buses in '73.
Of course, you were like, were you sort of like not contracted then, but obviously you had contacts. Obviously, you must have done within LWT because you've done the French Street.
That's
didn't
right.
you, which
I was just explaining that in those days it was quite easy to jump from one ship to another because we all drank in the bar after a production. And, are you free next week? Are you free the week after? And that's how the jobs got achieved.
It may be something to do with that people mistake you for Carry On Teacher, because that was a school sort of based show as well, wasn't it? The French Street Gang. So maybe,
that's right, and Please Sir.
Yeah. Because that's how it sort of myths sort of like grow like that. They snowball from, there's a famous one where somebody claims that in the very first episode, The Only Fools and Horses, was it Cassandra's in it?
Oh, yes.
Something like that. Raquel.
Oh, in the pub.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's even one that claims that you've got, there's another one in Holiday on the Buses. We've got somebody who's adamant that Richard Keel's in amongst Blakey's staff, but that was actually a Ponton's employee.
Richard Keel played Jaws, of course, in the James Bond film, so you can imagine Jaws at Blakey's security. I don't know who starts these up, but I sometimes I really do think they're doing it as a joke. But
I think it's on the...
You wouldn't have the advertising, so...
No,
precisely.
It'd be all about money, wouldn't it? Who would pay you the most?
That's right, yeah.
actually, yes, there's a funny one about advertising in Carry On Camping when Charles Hawtrey gets off the coach and he's got a sacks of salt, and I think Saxa supplied them with X amount of pounds just for him to, you know, it's yeah. So HP Sauce might have handed these lots something.
And of course, everything led through. If you did Please Sir, that virtually automatically guaranteed that you would be in Fen Street.
Amazing,
didn't it?
absolutely
Everything
amazing.
had a sort of structure to it.
So you always knew that, you know, you were going to get another £1 or two in the months coming ahead, which is good security, really, isn't it?
Well, it was fun too, wasn't it?
It was fun.
I don't think you'd have actually done any scenes with Doris, would you? I don't think that I recall. And the 4 episodes you were in, Sandra.
I don't think so, no.
No.
But of course she was with her offset and, you know, you spoke to
yeah.
her. She was lovely, wasn't she? She was really good. Apparently Noel Coward wrote a play specifically for Doris.
Really?
Yes, yes. Her daughters tell us that. They're lovely. I mean, one of the daughters, Chip off the old block, absolutely looks completely like Doris, talks like her.
Is she an actress?
No, I don't think she is. She's living a quiet life in Wales.
Oh.
So was this cold, this studio?
Not really, because we had the hairy sort of tweedy uniform on, didn't we? Which was quite. I don't remember it being cold. You know that the uniform we had on.
Yeah.
Well, it was what I call, you know, that woolly,
Like a serge.
woolly scratch. Yes.
Oh, that made
that's
you.
the one. I don't think it was as posh as serge.
So I don't know if the viewers are up to date with where we are now, but Blakey's talking to Michael Sheard, who is he's another TV legend. He played Hitler in Indiana Jones, Mr. Bronson in Grange Hill, and
Yes.
as you can see in the background, I think Craig can confirm this. Is that a cardboard bus of some sort, or
No,
fiberglass?
what that is in the background there is, this is at South Bank Studios. Now, when the first 6 series were filmed at Wembley had a taller entrance into it, so you could actually drive a full double-decker bus into the set, and they had to put an pipe on the exhaust pipes to take the carbon monoxide out the back of the studio. in case any of the watching audience would be poisoned, obviously, but this is obviously a Series 7, but this time LWT had moved down to South Bank Studios, and they couldn't drive double-decker buses into there. It wasn't high enough, so to have the appearance of double-decker buses, they had to use single-decker buses and put once it was inside the studio, put a fiberglass false upper deck on it.
How interesting. We didn't really notice things like that, did we? We just sat there enjoying ourselves.
So
it was all about personalities, really.
It was because that was South Bank Studios was touted as like a custom built brand new studio with all the modern things and all that, but actually for on the buses, the older studio at Wembley was better.
So Sandra, there's a wonderful episode. I think it might be the final episode, where you're in a bikini in the back garden. Do you remember that?
No.
we won't bring you in for commentary on that one, but yeah, the last ever one. And
it's called Gardening Town.
That's the one.
Gardening Town.
Okay.
See, this chap was brought in, I think, not as a replacement for Reg, but as a work buddy for Jack to drive the bus around.
Yeah.
And as I said to you earlier, I think, you know, because Reg left it, okay, it wasn't exactly the same, but like ladies like you and the others who come in, sort of, you know.
They padded it out a bit,
absolutely.
they gave it the atmosphere.
I love them. Look at the old clippy machines.
Yes.
My mother during the war was a clippy on.
Really?
And my auntie.
I think those machines go for a fortune nowadays on eBay as well. Yeah, the collectors, and look, the good old T-urn coming round.
And when Stephen was clocking in, I mean that thing, I can actually remember him doing that. Yes, I've seen him before.
I mean, because Bob Grant in real life was actually a conductor as well for a short time.
Oh.
He had a job as a bus conductor, to pay his ladder fees because he went to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Drama and Arts. So he actually took on a job as a conductor for a short space of time. I think that's why there's a lot of it has got a lot of realism to it. I mean, because Reg used to sit apparently in the canteen up at Wood Green where they filmed and chat to the drivers and find out what they were like, so that he could put that bit into his own character, if you know what I mean. They all
done their homework, in other words, yeah.
And Doris as well was spent a lot of time at home.
Your mother had the whole set in that.
And she actually spent time travelling on public transport to find out what people felt about it.
Well, it was certainly well researched.
Yeah, it was very well.
Everywhere it was everywhere. It was kind of genteel, wasn't it? And nice and, you know, smart.
It was utility, wasn't it, really?
Oh.
Ooh, PG moment. Did Stephen Lewis feel very tall? Did he, when you were next to him?
Yeah,
I've heard he's a very sort of like an imposing chap, gentle giant, of course. But
Yeah, I do remember him when he was
He did. He was quite. He had that sort of slightly vampire quality that some tall men do have, which was very
Christopher
dramatic.
Lee sort of.
Yes. Who I met many years later in a party in Mayfair, and he had that same sort of, you know, they appear from the loom out of through the doorway at you, and it's very glamorous and very.
So Craig, was this a set? They're in the house now?
Yeah, this would have been at State Bank Studios.
Look at the wallpaper.
I mean, to me, it just reminds me of my nan's house back in the day.
Yeah.
The green cups in the kitchen.
Yes.
Yes, we were just talking about them.
Everyone had those cups. They were the thing to have.
So when filming was wrapped, did everyone just hit the bar upstairs?
Oh,
and
yes.
everyone sit together for a while?
We did, yeah.
That's nice. It's nice.
Yeah, it was very social.
Yes, it was just like a network, really. It was a community in a way.
Yeah, that's it. It was a community, wasn't it? And everybody was content if someone got a part, you know, and everybody was happy that someone they knew had got on. And,
Yeah.
it was very different to today, wasn't it?
I think it's far more stressful nowadays. Everything's too serious as well,
think
you know.
so.
If you
It doesn't feel as safe as it
no. So if you had to look back on your careers, and do you have a defining moment, one that you enjoyed the most, or you know, is there any specific?
It's a question, isn't it? I think I enjoyed doing the publicity for the Plum's Mate film, and I went all over the north of England meeting managers in the cinemas, and then we had a big party in Soho, and I was the hostess, and that was lovely. That really was great fun.
See exactly what you were saying. I mean, nowadays you wouldn't get the stars of the film going to Northumberland theatres and things, and you know they just don't do it.
Security men, don't they?
That's
they
it.
Phalanx
Yes.
of guards around them and such. You know.
How about you, Sandra? Any defining moments?
Well, it's quite a few years since I was one of those group of people that did sort of give up when my children came along. So I can judge it by how old they are. The tangible evidence of time going by.
Absolutely.
But I enjoyed this, and Special Branch. I enjoyed doing that very much.
Oh, Special Branch. That's along the lines of the Sweeney, isn't it? Was that?
Well, it's like a precursor to the
Yes.
Sweeney.
Yeah, absolutely. Set the standards for the Sweeney.
And they had the same writers, I think, and
Did.
Darren Nesbitt.
That's the one.
yeah, it was his birthday yesterday. He was 84.
80.
Darren Nesbitt's birthday.
84.
Still going strong. Brilliant.
Is he still working?
I don't know.
I don't think he's still acting, but he does do a lot of events, signing events and things like that, Comic-Con, and he's done Elstree events as well.
Golly.
But I don't think he still acts.
I did a play with him after that. I remember we went on tour of doing a play called She'll Follow You Anywhere, I think.
That rings a bell. Yes.
Because you were also as well, wasn't you? You were in an episode of Whatever Happened to the Lightning Lads.
Yes, I did. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
What was
right.
it like working with James Bolam and
Great.
Hughes?
Great. All the years later, I think one of their daughters was at school with my daughter.
Oh.
So,
So So despite not being the biggest or the longest CV, it's a good CV. What you've done, haven't it? You know, you've been involved in a lot of major shows.
And it was an exciting time.
Well, I think that's why everyone's still so in love with these series from the 70s and the 80s. You know, it's a world away, isn't it? You know, especially when you see the likes of London on location back in the day,
Yes.
all untouched and the old buildings. It's unrecognisable now, isn't it?
See, I find with ITV, in my opinion, it was better when you had the regional franchises, because it was competition then. Each place like Yorkshire and Granada, they competed to have the best.
Coronation Street stemmed from
That's
that.
very true.
Yeah.
It had its own identity, didn't it?
Yeah, they all competed with each other to have the best of, which you haven't really got anymore because they're all under the same umbrella. But back in the day, you had like Yorkshire had Rise and Damp as a sitcom. Obviously, Thames had the likes of Bless This House and all of that on the buses for LWT. They all competed for to be the top dog, if you know what I mean, which is
Kept them on their toes, yes.
And I think comedy loses out as well, because obviously comedies such as this is like non-PC humour. You wouldn't get away with it nowadays. No. It's sort of like it's more too dynamic. The sitcoms of today, it's not like in this day age you could have non-PC humour, any kind of humour. It was a much broader spectrum that you could cover, where now it's confined about what you can and can't laugh about, if you know what I mean, which is a shame, I think.
I don't think people were so touchy.
No.
In those days.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, there's still I do believe there's still an appetite out there for it, because if you remember a few years back, there was a series called Life on Mars.
Oh, yes.
Which had a very,
I like that
had
very
a lot of non-PC humour in that with Gina Hunt, and it was very popular. And that had a lot of non-PC humour wrapped up in it, as well as it being a sort of like a sort of sci-fi sort of police series. But it had a lot of non-PC stuff, and it was really popular. So it shows that there's a lot of people who would still like that sort of humour to be around. They only got away with it, of course, because it's supposed to be set back in the 1970s.
The classic example as well is Alf Garnett in Sickness and in Health. If that was to be shown now, you'd get about 2 minutes of footage, because everything else is racist, sexist.
Exactly.
We loved it. I mean, I've watched it recently, and honest to God, you still roll around with laughter. Sometimes you cringe, but
the script would have been literally, you know,
of course. And that's the other thing. It's the writers. They say Alf Garnett was a racist. It wasn't even the writer. Johnny Spate wanted him like that, you know. Just everything's taken out of proportion now.
Everything is so serious.
Yes, I agree.
Well, you know, I suppose the war had only been over about 2 decades when this was made, and that had a big impact on.
I mean, we remember ration books, don't we, only just?
For sweets. That went on for quite a while.
Well, like you say, perhaps the world needed to laugh again after the war.
I had 2 and 6
you know,
pocket money.
Gosh, you were wealthy.
2 and 6 a week I got, What's that now? 12.5p.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, yes, I think it is. I do think they still sell penny sweets. But anyway, look.
We're going to feature the cup.
We've literally just come to the end of the episode. And can we just thank you, ladies, for joining us? I mean, if the opportunity arises, we'll do this again. But for now, Sandra, thank you. We'll see you in August at the Holiday on the Buses event.
Right.
And Nina, we'll see you both in July at the 50th anniversary event.
I look forward to that.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.